Hi guys, I am doing a tutorial today on how to manipulate text within Silhouette Studio. As a reminder, I have a Mac and I am not running Silhouette Studio Designer Edition. So just be aware that some of your options or your mouse clicks may be a little bit different from mine. This tutorial is not going to discuss offsetting. That is a video tutorial all in itself. So I'm just going to be focusing on some of the basic ways you can manipulate fonts in Silhouette Studio. So I'm going to start first of all with a very simple font called Brandball Font. And this font right here is cool because it's a very popular baseball font. If you manipulate the numbers on this font, it gives you tails. The higher your number goes, the longer your tail. But one thing you have to notice about this font is that the letters overlap. And so this is very common with any of your cursive fonts. Most of those are going to overlap like that. This is a very simple fix. I'm going to right click, which on my Mac is Control click. And I'm opening up these options. And you're just going to click on the word weld. Very simple. I also group these together after I'm done with them. That's Command G if you're on a Mac. Because that way, if you do anything else to this font, like resize it, you don't lose any of your little pieces. So that's the first thing you should know. Welding. The second thing I want to show you, I'm going to change fonts here. This font is one of my favorite fonts for when I'm using Guy for Guy projects. This is Pottery Barn. So I've just typed the word studio, and I'm going to show you a couple different things that you can do with any font, but I'm just going to use this one in particular. I've got a few choices here. When I double click on this font, you have two things pop up. The first is this little crosshair and a circle over here, and on the right is this blue bar. This circle over here is used to put a word on a path. So, for example, and again, this is a tutorial all in itself, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but just so you know, the option is there. This clicks and drags, and it brings it to whatever shape you want it to do. You can do the inside, you can do the outside, you just can manipulate that however you want. But again, that's a tutorial all in itself. The option on the right hand side of your word, this blue bar, you can pull this into the left, and that makes your letters stack on top of each other. So that's how you can make that a stacked word. One thing you may notice about this word now that I've stacked it is that the letters are very far apart. So you're going to come over here to the right hand side of your screen, and now that my letters are stacked, this space in between here is called a line. So I can come over here to my line spacing and pull that arrow into the left, and you'll notice the space in between each letter shrinking. So that pulls those letters closer together. Next, looking at the same font, I'm not going to change that. Just make it a little bit bigger for you to see. The space in between each letter is your character spacing. So if for some reason you just want those letters really tight and snug next to each other, you can move that arrow to the left and it pulls those closer together. Or you can move it to the right and that spaces them out. This is particularly a good trick if you are doing something that you want all of your lines to be the same length, but you don't want to distort your letters. So that's a good trick. I want to run through some of the options for you on your fonts. If you look, you can flip your font. You can weld, which we've talked about. Offset, which will be in a different video. Essentially, you are creating a shadow around your text. You can ungroup your font, which gives you each letter individually. You can color your fonts. You can shadow, fill in patterns if you're doing print and cuts. This color changes the line color of your font. You can go back to your font and change it. If you haven't edited it in a couple different ways, if you haven't welded your font, if you haven't ungrouped your font, you can click on different ones and change it. But you won't be able to edit your font. Like if you ungroup this, then your font changes from a font to just a regular image, so you can't do anything with it after that. You've got to keep it in its original context. I'm going to change that back because that pattern's driving me crazy. You can rotate your font in different directions. This is a good thing to know. You can get specific with the sizing of your font. If I know that I need my word to be exactly 6 inches, I can type that in here. And it automatically, if you have your lock aspect checked, it does it proportionally. If you're doing several lines of text, you can align them. This is incredibly helpful. Let's say I'm going to go back and put in the word silhouette. So maybe just for some reason I'm creating something and I want all of them to be perfectly lined up. You can hold down the shift button on a Mac to select more than one object and come over here to the align window. I can make both of those words align to the left, to the center, right. I can make them both go to the top, middle, bottom. If I've got these aligned to the top, actually let's change this just a little bit. Can make sure that they have equal spacing. 1, 2, 3. Just using my shift button to select all of those. You can make sure that each line has the same amount of space in between. If you look, pharmacy has this weird I that I don't like. If I ever use pharmacy, I will control ungroup and then release my compound path. That allows me to really edit that letter better. So I always delete that and then I just go back and I group them again. But remember, now that I have ungrouped and released my compound path, I can't do anything else with that font in terms of changing it. So, anywho, selecting those 3 again, I'm just going to show you. Now they're all perfectly spaced out. You can space them horizontally or center it to your page. Moving on to the next tab, you can duplicate your font to the left. Of course, all these other options. Fill page is an excellent tip to know, not just with fonts, but also with images. You can select this item and click Fill Page, and it will fill your page with that item. So that's really good to know. Just trying to think of anything else that you guys could need to know about that. I don't see anything else. I feel like I've covered everything pretty well. You're going to see all the same items up here in your object. So I'm just going through them and making sure I didn't miss anything that I wanted to talk about. And I don't think I did. But if I left something out, please let me know. Leave a comment and I will be happy to do another tutorial video. Definitely be on the lookout for a tutorial about how to offset your font. Thanks for watching.